Okay, 2013, higher level question 1. In this case, we have a set of stairs to work through. Let's read through the question first of all. We'll look at the keywords and look at the layout of the question. Then, a closed string wooden stairs leads to a landing with ballast rod as shown in the sketch. The landing has a hardwood tongue and groove floor on 200mm by 50mm joist with a plasterboard ceiling beneath. The newel post is 100mm by 100mm and the rise of a step should not exceed 175mm. To a scale of 1 to 5, draw a vertical section through the centre of the stairs and through the landing. The section should show the typical construction details through the top 3 steps of the stairs and the landing, showing the newel post, balusters, handrail to the stairs and landing. Include the typical dimensions of 3 structural members of the stairs. Show the typical handrail height to stairs and landing. On your drawing, show 500mm of landing. Part B, indicate on your drawing 2 design features that ensure that the stairs is safe for all users. Right, okay, so a couple of words there that need to be explained to try to get a better understanding. First of all, a closed string wooden stairs. Let me explain that. This piece of wood here on your stairs is called a string. All sets of stairs have a string, or most stairs have a string. If I was to show you this picture here, that set of stairs, alright, this piece of wood in the stairs is called a string. There's also a string on that side as well. Alright, now that particular string is called a closed string because it's not open to the step. It's just a full piece of wood. It's a closed string. This stairs here, I'm sure you've seen stairs like this. That string, that white piece of wood that's been painted, has been cut like this, and that's called an open string stairs. It's just a design feature. There's a little bit more work involved. Open string stairs tend to be more expensive because of the extra work and the extra design involved. When it comes to these questions, they're more often than not, or they're pretty much always, a closed string stairs. So that's just explaining that word there. So closed string. So a closed string wooden stairs leads to a landing. If anyone doesn't know what a landing is just the top of the stairs, so the area at the top of the stairs, with a ballast rod, as shown in the sketch. A ballast rod is a set of balusters. Each of these vertical pieces of wood are called balusters, and a set of those balusters is called a ballast rod. You have a ballast rod going up the side of the stairs, and sometimes you can see a landing with a ballast rod on the side. The landing has a hardwood tongue and groove floor, I'm going to underline that, on 200 by 50mm joists. Alright, we have a hardwood floor here, and you can't see the joists because they're covered, but there's joists underneath that as well supporting it, with plasterboard underneath that must be drawn in. The newel post is 100mm by 100mm, and the rise of a step should not exceed 175mm. This here is the newel post. There's a newel post at the top of the stairs, and there'll be a newel post at the bottom of the stairs as well, as we're all familiar with. So basically what's being asked there is the top 3 steps and the landing. So again, if you were to cut through this area here and strip it all back, you would see everything underneath those steps. To a scale 1 to 5, draw a vertical section through the centre of the stairs and through the landing. This section should show the typical construction details through the top 3 steps, as we said, of the stairs and the landing, showing the newel post, balusters, handrails, etc. So we must show the newel post, we must show the balusters, we must show the handrail, that's your handrail, to the stairs and landing. Include typical dimensions of 3 structural members of the stairs, it's fine. Show typical height, handrail height to the stairs and landing, which we'll look at the end. On your drawing, show a 500mm length of landing, so we must go across here 500mm in our detail. Indicate on your drawing 2 design features that ensure the stairs is safe for all users. We'll look at that afterwards. So from the stairs details we've done in the past, we have a rough idea what this needs to look like, and again we just use this information to fine tune exactly what they want us to do. Alright, so we'll just do a sketch up of that question before we look at the actual solution then, how to go about it. Ideal angle, if you remember, for a set of stairs is 35 degrees. The ideal height for a step is 175 and the ideal length is 250, so that's what we're going to go with. Generally they leave it at that. They very, very rarely, if ever, ask for anything else other than that. Start nice and low. There's the bottom corner of my page. So start nice and low to make sure you have enough room. It's a 1:5 drawing, and by the time you get your handrail and all, it does actually cover quite a lot of the page. So again, starting off these questions, easy when you know, but it's also easy to make a mess of. So just make sure you do this right. Now watch these steps. Lightly, of course, as always, I'm going to draw a light line. I'm going to pick a point on that light line, and I'm going to mark out my 35-degree angle. Protractor, which you're going to bring yourself to the exam. You're going to mark yourself an angle of 35 degrees. And that's drawn up along there. Alright, so 35-degree angle drawn there. I'm just marking out the position of my steps. Now we decided ourselves that we're going to go for a pitch of 35 degrees with a height of a step to be 175. Along here, a random position, measure up 175. When you divide that by 5, it works out with 35. So measure up your 35 and draw with your T-square a light line across. Where that hits this line here, that is going to be the start of our stairs, our marking out of our steps. That is 35 mil there. We're then going to go across 250 millimeters. 250 divided by 5 is 50, so measure across your 50. All light. Measure up here straight up. If you're accurate, that should work out at 35 for us. And then go across here. You're 50, measure 50. And up again, if you're accurate, that should be 35. And we go across 1, 2, 3, we'll do one more. Across here, measure across 50. And then go up your 35. Alright, again. Easy when you know. If you don't follow those steps, you're going to end up with steps that are all uneven. One is bigger than the other and all that. It can get very messy very easily if you're not fully sure on what you're doing there. Alright, so 3 steps, 1, 2, 3, and then landing, so that's plenty. We have the position of all our steps marked out. Everything's perfectly in size there. Now we can actually start drawing the wooden members. This is called the riser, that's called the tread. That's the name of those pieces of wood. They're usually 18 mil. Let's say 20. 20 divided by 5 is 4. So we're going to make this wood 4 millimeter thick. So measure across your 4 mil there. Line down there. Measure down your 4 mil here. Go across. Measure out 4 mil. Again, just do it all lightly at the start. Everything is light. And we can build up this as we go along. It's going to be our landing. It's going to go all the way across there. Okay, again, all light work. We have all the positions of the steps. Now we have to draw those little housing joints into place. Again, tricky little work, but it needs to be done neatly with your T-squares and set squares. So I'm going to just freehand those all in to show what they should look like. And you can see in your book, we've done this before, you can see in your book what I'm talking about there. If you want to kind of go a little bit heavier on those steps at this stage, you can. So show the outline. Okay, now if you want now, you can add in the bull nose at the front of those steps. If you want to do it freehand, be very, very careful. If you have a small compass or template, and you can use that. Just be neat with that. We have that bull nose in place. Other details to add to each of those steps. A glue block. So there's a glue block fixed into the corners of those to keep those nice and tight so the stairs isn't creaking and moving. It's a 50 mil glue block usually. Measure across 10. 50 divided by 5 is 10. Go at a 45-degree angle for each of those glue blocks. You actually won't need it for the top step, we'll come to that in a moment. Right, now, wedges. a random angle there, similar to what I've drawn. A wedge across there. If you remember from the pictures I showed you, these wedges are hammered in again just to secure, to stop your stairs from creaking. Pick a point, go off at an angle, a slight angle, just like I'm showing you there. Don't overthink it. It doesn't need to be measured. That can vary depending on the manufacturer. I'm just going to stop and I'll do this one as well. Alright, I'm going to leave it out there for the moment because that's actually going to be the top of the landing, which we'll come to. Again, just keep it all light at this stage. I might have said go over heavily, but just keep it all light because we're going to be going over this area with a newel post in a moment. So keep it all light at the minute. Next, what we can add in is the string. So the actual piece of wood that's running down here. A string is 250 millimeters wide. That means 50 mil in our drawing. The string base needs to cover this area and this area. So I'm going to come back maybe a slight bit here. Draw an angle, 35 degrees. Do it all lightly again, as I said. And from here, measure 50 millimeters. That should bring me out there somewhere. And go off there. That's the position of my string. We can go over heavily shortly. That's pretty much majority of the work done in this area. And we're now going to get the newel post into place. The newel post, so let me just show you there in the question again. The newel post, as we said, is this bit, and we're going to work on the ballast rod and the handrail. The newel post, the question tells us, is 100 millimeters by 100 millimeters. That means it's going to be 20 by 20 by the time you scale it down. Position of the newel post, again, a little bit of room for variation, but I like to position it, just go to the top step and maybe have it fairly centered. See that thread on that riser on the top there? So the newel post, as I was saying, have it fairly centered over this. So, you know, pick a point somewhere around there, draw a vertical line straight down, measure across your 100 mil when you scale it down, and draw a line down there. Now, with the upper part of the stairs, newel post would generally go a little bit below the string and come across like that. Come down there, come down there, you know, make your own judgment on that. I'll just extend the newel post up lightly for the minute. I'm just going to stop there. Now my newel post and my sketch is going to work out quite small looking, but just for the sake of fitting it in, we'll go with that. Next, we will continue with the floor. So where the string meets the newel post, it's usually like a mortise and tenon joint, so it's usually mortised in. So if you were to go halfway across there roughly, bring that down. It comes back in and goes in like that. So these bits are actually mortised into the newel post. Oftentimes they don't even draw in the shape of that mortise. You can leave it out if you want. From there, we will go to the landing itself. All right, now the landing, it comes across here. We have to go 500 millimeters of the landing, so that divided by 5 is 100. So just make sure that you measure across 100 millimeters across there. There's a joist, so the joists, the question tells us that the joists are 200 by 50 millimeters. All right, so the joist we're going to draw in, there must firstly be a joist directly underneath there. 200 by 50 millimeters. All right, and then we can go across 400 millimeters because they're usually 400 millimeters centered, for another joist. If you want to add another one in, you can if you have space. I'm a little bit out of space. It says there's plasterboard underneath the joists. It's a little bit inaccurate there. So just draw your 12 millimeter plasterboard in there. And oftentimes there is a bridging between those. Sometimes the bridging is going at an angle. Sometimes it's just a block of wood going across. You can draw that in if you want. There is a 20 millimeter tongue and groove hard wood floor. So you can just add that on. And there's your hardwood floor on top of the landing. That's the landing pretty much done. Now, to finish off the ballast rod on the top of the newel post, how high do we go here? There's a regulation size that from this pitch line, this line here, and the height of the handrail should be between 840 and 900 millimeters. So you measure up whichever you can fit in. You'll see that on my solution in a moment. That height there is a regulation, and then we'll draw in our 35-degree angle for our handrail. All right. Now your handrail is 75 by 50, so you can go up your 50 this way, and you're going to draw that in. It's your handrail. Newel post goes up. The newel post just needs to go up above the handrail. All right. And then we have to draw in our balusters. So I'm getting a tight space here on the top. So just make sure the newel post goes a little bit above that. And then it's a case of drawing in your balusters. Now, the balusters are 40 mil by 40 mil. And the maximum gap between balusters is 100 millimeters in regulation today. So you have to go across 100, draw a line down, then across 40, draw a line down, across 100, draw a line down, across 40, draw a line down, and work your way down for the ballast rod there. And then you can bring your baluster, your handrail across there. I'm getting a little bit messy here now because it's tight on space. Bring your handrail across there and do the same thing with your ballast rod here. Across your 100 millimeters, across your 40, 100 millimeters, across your 40, and work your ballast rod across there. All right. At that point, it's just a matter of getting your labels in. All right. And part B says to show some safety features, which I will look at you now with the solution. So there's a sketch. That's kind of the general approach. Bit of practice is definitely needed on that. Now, the actual solution itself, if I was to take that back, that's what your drawing should look like. There's all your details with your wedges and your glue blocks and all of that. You can see there these housing joints are done nice and neatly. You can see I have my pitch line up along there, that's still there. You can see I have included the mortise and tenon. You can draw in something like that. To be honest, if you leave that out, you'll be fine. If you want to get it in, by all means do it. I actually, one thing I forgot to mention, this joist, the first joist is generally bigger. It's called a trimmer joist. That's a bigger one that must go into place there just for extra strength, and then you can go on to your 200 by 50. That's 200 by 75, it's thicker. That's 200 by 50, and they're 400 millimeters apart, 400 millimeter centers. Plasterboard is there, hardwood flooring. I have left out the bridging between those, draw it in if you have time. There's your ballast rod going all the way up. The top of my newel post, I kept it nice and simple, handrail going along there. The part B asks for some safety features. If I go to part B there, it says indicate on your drawing 2 design features that ensure the stair is safe for all users. First design feature that you could point out is this height here. From the pitch line to the top of the handrail, it has to be regulation, says it has to be between 840 and 900. Alright, I think that worked out with 168 was 840, so I made it as small as possible so it fit on the page. That's a safety feature. If that's lower, people can fall over the handrail. If it's too high, children can't hold the handrail, so that's a dangerous. That's your first safety feature. Another safety feature will be your gap. So the gap between these, again I should have indicated that, is a maximum of 100 millimeters. All right, if you write that in, 100 millimeter maximum, so a child's head or a child can't fit through that and fall down through the ballast rod. So there's one safety feature. There's a second safety feature. Possibly might be worth your while putting in a part B and writing that down and pointing that out with the arrows. Okay, so there's the full solution. Have a go with that one.